Welcome everyone to our World Cup 2010 update. Here we are in the big, gorgeous, comfy chairs, and here is Ian Irving, our World Cup guru. How are you, Ian?
Not so bad, yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Still surviving. Still got the anticipation and the excitement for the rest of the competition.
Well, with Brazil and Holland at 3 o'clock, how can I not be excited?
It's going to be a good one, that one, isn't it? Let's first of all because the post-mortem of the England performance continues, so I guess we better touch on that. A couple of things first. Fabio Capello, of course. The FA said, OK, we're not going to make an immediate decision. It's not going to be a knee-jerk reaction. We're going to take 2 weeks, 2 agonising weeks for the rest of the World Cup. So we wait for the end of the World Cup and then we find out what happens to us. Was that the right move for the FA, do you think?
I think what they wanted to do was take a step back from it and take a bit of time over the decision. It's going to be a lot of money if they do decide to get rid of Capello, and obviously they've already spent a lot of money on him. £6 million a year, so you're looking at something like a £12 million payoff. He's got 2 years of his contract left. It's a hell of a lot of money to be spending. But I think that it probably is the right decision to take a step back and just assess things a little bit, let the mood die down a lot. There was obviously a lot of people calling for radical changes straight after such a heavy defeat 4-1 to Germany in the last 16. So I think perhaps a couple of weeks just to take perspective of what's happened and just to assess what's going on. And now they've asked, of course, Capello to explain what's happened at the World Cup, and perhaps if they're happy with what he says or they're not happy with what he says, they'll make a decision based on that.
It's rather convenient, though, the 2 week period to make that decision in a way, because it does keep the headlines aside from the competition, doesn't it? Was that a deliberate, conscious effort, do you think?
Possibly. I think these sort of organisations are more than aware of PR nowadays, and when's the wrong time and when's the right time to be making these sort of decisions and announcements. But I feel like the mood seems to be going in Capello's favour in terms of him staying in the job. Quite a few people have come out sort of in support of him. Phil Gartside, who sits on the FA's board and is Bolton chairman, he came out in support of him and said several other people were also in favour of him staying on in the job. Personally, not too sure, but if it can bring a bit of stability and if Capello, the FA decide, is the man to take England forward, make some changes to the side, bring through some younger players, there's no doubt in his quality as a manager in the past, of course, in the qualification period as well. So hopefully he can make a change, and if they do decide to stay with him, then he can take the team forward.
The FA are coming under a bit of fire themselves at the moment from various quarters, aren't they? MPs at the moment calling for the FA to be a more democratic organisation, that you and I could buy shares in the FA and have voting rights and choose the managers and help to make and influence some of the key decisions.
Yeah, as is always the way when something doesn't quite go right for the FA, there's all these types of decisions and proposals and suggestions and changes that people think we should be making to it. Dave Whelan as well, the Wigan owner, has come out this week and said that he thinks that the England team should be run by the Premier League and not the Football Association.
What's your view on that?
Well, it's long been a criticism of the FA that people see them as like an amateur organisation running, professional football in our country. But I do think that you do need a body that's sort of separate to that. I think to have the Premier League running the England team would be a little bit strange in a way, because you need that sort of neutrality. You need someone who isn't involved in club football, because there's going to be decisions that need to be made that are in favour of the country against club football and are really promoting and pushing the England side, which is a priority I think that the country needs to look at now in terms of how the England side performed at the World Cup and making them a priority. There's
a lot of money being spent by them though, isn't there, as well? I mean,
well, that's true, yeah.
50 million in 10 years, was it? I heard this morning. Is a lot of money, and should the decision go against Capello next week or whenever it is,
it's a lot of money again.
That's a lot of money down the drain, and that we've touched on this 3 or 4 times. That clause was removed from the contract 2 weeks before the start of the competition. They left themselves wide open for that.
Well, yeah, but they thought they were securing the man, didn't they? Obviously, Capello had a fantastic qualification campaign. There was clubs like Inter Milan sniffing around and so on. So they thought if they get rid of this clause, then it's made sure we can keep Fabio Capello. Perhaps in hindsight they wouldn't have done that, or perhaps they would have done. I don't know. It's going to depend on to see what they say. The government needs to be careful, though. There's precedents in the past of different governments from different parts of the world getting involved in football, and FIFA are very, very much opposed to it. At the moment, Nigeria, who had a worse World Cup than us, Their president has come out and said, right, I'm banning the team from playing football till 2012. We're having a full review of the way Nigerian football is working, and FIFA said, listen, you've got a couple of weeks to reverse that, otherwise you're going to get banned from competition anyway. They don't like government interference, so we're going to have to be careful in that sense. I'm sure it won't come to the point where England are banned from competitions, but that just emphasises the point that the FA, I think, should be neutral and should be separate to any sort of government organisations and so on.
Alrighty, well, the competition rumbles on.
Yeah, the condition definitely rumbles on.
Well, yeah, exactly,
us,
absolutely. Yeah. It's terminal, isn't it, at the moment? But we've got just over a week of the World Cup.
Yeah.
What have been the highlights so far this week?
Well, this week we had the end, of course, of the last 16 results from earlier on in the week. Brazil, great win over Chile, and Holland's win, of course, over Slovakia as well. That means that them two, where am I from? Those two meet in the quarter-finals
Got some
today.
pictures of that now.
Yeah, but Brazil, have been playing extremely well. I think they're still the bookies' favourites to win, which is usually a good sign, of course, for sides. And it's going to be Brazil and Holland, which is a 3 o'clock kick-off today, quarter-final. There's been a few games so far that have ignited the imagination of the fans, but I think this one, for me personally, obviously England and Germany, of course, but in terms of...
That's history now, isn't it?
Exactly.
Like a lot of our relations with Germany, it's history at the moment.
But yeah, Holland and Brazil, absolutely fantastic game later on. And of course, earlier on in the week as well, that was Holland's win, obviously, that we're seeing there against Slovakia. They'll go on then to play Brazil. Orange
so much
everywhere,
and
fantastic.
Spirit. Yeah, I mean, and that's something that reflects if you go to Holland as well. Yeah, you get a real sense.
They're
that
a funny camp,
together.
though. They are a funny camp. Van Persie, Arsenal forward, threw his toys out the pram a little bit when he got substituted in that game, that Slovakia game. Yeah. And he said in the interview afterwards, he said, what was wrong? What was up with you? He said, well, I got substituted. I thought Sneijder should have been brought off. And actually, you just never hear that from players, saying that other people should be taken off and stuff. But that's the Dutch mentality. If that's as big as the argument gets in the Dutch camp, then they had a pretty quiet World Cup, to be fair.
Absolutely.
Of course, earlier in the week there was Spain and Portugal as well. Spain came out on top of that one. They'll now play Paraguay in the quarter-finals tomorrow. But that was a massive game, an Iberian derby, of course, and there was a lot riding on it. Cristiano Ronaldo, Portugal's best player, of course, plays for Real Madrid as well as a Portuguese captain, and a lot of eyes were on him to see how he performed. Never quite lived up to his billing. It's ironic, really. At Nike, we've spent a hell of a lot of money making a fantastic all-singing, all-dancing advert before the campaign. The players featured were Rooney, Ronaldo, Ribery and Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho didn't make it in the Brazil squad. Rooney's faced all sort of criticism. Ronaldo scored 1 goal against North Korea, but his tournament never really got going, and Frank Ribery was in that French side that had an absolute calamitous World Cup, so I think it's not really gone well for Nike in that sense.
Yeah, no, but they're going to be thinking maybe in the future of making many different variants and choosing many different people and just seeing how it goes. That's the only way they can do it, because there's been some big disappointments player-wise. We've expected some big things from, our players in particular, but international players that just haven't made the grade this competition. There's been something about this competition which has kind of taken the power out of a lot of these guys.
Yeah, well, like I say, the players I mentioned there didn't really have fantastic World Cups. Kaka got sent off in their second game. He's not really set the world alight. Lionel Messi as well has been criticised. I don't see any point in criticising players when the teams are still in the competition, really. I know, obviously, that they're going to say that these players aren't stepping up to the plate and so on. However, if their sides are performing well, does it matter whether they're playing particularly well? I'd take Rooney not playing well to be in the quarterfinals against Holland at 3 o'clock today. I'm sure anyone else would as well. But in terms of the quarterfinals, the game this evening is Ghana and Uruguay. Ghana flying the flag.
Here's the fixtures coming
for
up.
Africa, the last remaining African side in it.
Are they going to hold out, do you think?
Well, the cynics would say that FIFA would like an African team in the semi-finals. Uruguay, though, have played fantastically well this tournament. Diego Forlan, some have said, has been the player of the tournament so far. So that'll be an interesting game. I think probably Uruguay will come out on top of that one. And tomorrow, our enemies, Argentina and Germany, going head-to-head. That should have been us there, but it wasn't. And that'll be another great and interesting game.
And very quickly, Spain, Paraguay. Which way will that go?
Absolute banker to Spain, I would say. Yeah.
But they've done it all the way through so far, haven't they?
Yeah, they had the result in the first game against Switzerland when they got beat 1-0, which I think in a way they probably saw it as an incentive to do better. I guess it's one of those games that you want out of the way first game of the tournament if you're going to suffer one of those games.
Key weekend for you. You're going to enjoy it, I know.
Certainly
you're
will,
looking forward to those games, aren't you?
I'm off to the fan zone this afternoon with my dad to watch Brazil and Holland, so that'll be great.
Fantastic. Enjoy. Come back and tell us all about it on Monday. Ian, thank you so much.